Yeah, no, we're starting a bit late, but guess what? That's why they call me the resilience guy. You know, the guy who talks about mental strength and bouncing back. You know, we're 10 minutes late into the show. We've had some network issues, internet here and there. We have 3 different providers here, and yet, you know, that's just the story of life, and you have to get used to it. It happens to all of us. I want to welcome you to the Chike Onyia Speaks live talk show. My name is Chike Onyia. I'm your host, and guess who is with me in the studio? This is the most important human being walking the face of this planet. I tell people I love her to death. I'll take a bullet for this woman. She's awesome. She's great. Everywhere I go in the world, people know my wife, Azuka. In fact, it's funny. One day, somebody called me Mr. Azuka. We were in church, and the woman walked up to me, and my wife was sitting there and said, "Good morning. Happy Sunday, Mr. Azuka." Hey, how you doing, my dear? How you doing?
Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to be here. It's going to be a great show today.
Oh, my gosh. She just sits there and enjoys all these lovely words from her husband, yeah? But let me tell you why my wife and I started the show. She says, you know, it's your show. Yeah, it's named after me, but the truth is she's the chairman. She's really the boss woman, right? It's changing one life and one family at a time. Listen to me very carefully. If today my wife and I can touch one life, one family, one person out there, we've done our jobs today. We're not here to change the world. 7 billion people on this planet. No, that's not what it is. Our strategy is to focus on one person listening in, one family listening in today. So what are we talking about here today, honey? And by the way, she's the big baller. You know, Abba baller. Yeah? Premium or nothing. Anyway, hey, you know, I've had a rough week. My wife knows I've been working all week, deadlines, you know, meetings here and there coming out of my nose. And, you know, look, I'm here to have fun today. Guys, you need to forgive me. I'm not my normal Chike today. I'm just the baller. Anyway, my wife is the Abba baller, right? Whatever that is, I don't know. Premium or not. You're going to give some money out today?
We are going to give
money out. Our money. It's community property, you know what I'm saying? We own the money, right? What is ours is mine, and vice versa.
Yeah, so
oh my God.
I'd like the listeners to pay careful attention to what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to be asking specific questions about this show today. And we're going to be giving out 25,000 naira.
Whoa.
To 3 callers that get the answers correctly. So I repeat myself, right? The questions would come out from what we're going to be discussing during this show, so you need to listen very carefully, very closely, and the 3 people that get the correct answers will get 25,000 naira each.
Oh, each? I was going to clarify that. I thought it was 25,000 naira divided by 3. No, 25,000 naira each, right? So that's 75,000. I wanted to say dollars. No, it's not there. It's not USD. I beg. Oh, the Niger dollar. Yeah, so 25,000 naira each. You keep listening. I like what my wife has said. She says you gotta stay tuned. You gotta. We're gonna have a fantastic show today. I'm on fire. You know, I always come with a lot of energy, and I'm on fire today. We're talking about something I love so much, and that's mental strength and resilience. And today, in particular, we're going to focus on financial hardships. You know, people going through a lot of difficulty, their money issues, the economy is really tough. Honey, you've been in finance for many years. What's happening in the Nigerian economy today? Well, let's welcome our audience from everywhere. I mean, we're broadcasting from Lagos, Nigeria. But if you're tuning in from LA, lived in LA for 22 years, want to welcome you to the show. New York, right? You're welcome. Canada, you're welcome. Nairobi, Kenya. Well, I don't know whether they're listening from there. Yaoundé, Cameroon. Limbe, Cameroon. I've been there. Yeah, right? So different parts, Ibadan, Medugri, wherever you're tuning, Owerri, right? Abia, Anambra, you know, Benue, Otukpo, Otukpa, right?
We're testing your knowledge of geography.
Oh, geography. Oh, we got some people here. All right, Menora says, greetings, sir. Another day for this great, impactful program. Halima said, good evening, sir, and ma'am. Good evening, Lawal Moshud. People are, these are Adebanjo, Mary Shaw. Mary Sheung, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so people are joining us. They're tuning in from different parts of, I guess, the world today. So we're excited to have you on the show, right? So let's jump right in. I was asking you about the economy today. What are your thoughts? I mean, you've been in finance for excess of 30 years. My wife started her career many, many years ago in finance.
He has to say 30 years.
Yes, so many, many years ago. You're an expert, oh. I don't. I'm not talking about your age here. I'm talking about your expertise in finance. You know, I just love my wife and everything she does. Go ahead. All right.
Okay, so first off, I want to clarify something. The hardship that we're facing in Nigeria is not just limited to Nigeria alone. It's worldwide.
Okay.
So there's, you know, more or less like it's a global thing. It's happening in various economies.
Right.
One thing about, you know, financial hardship especially is that when people are facing it, they believe they are the only ones facing it.
Really?
Yes, and so it creates, like, you know, a sense of loneliness or panic. Oh my gosh, I'm the only one. You know, you kind of like feel you're the only one going through it. But the news, I can't call it good news. The news is that you're not the only one.
Like a news flash.
Going through it.
Right.
Other people in other economies too are going through the same things we're experiencing in Nigeria, or even worse. Okay, and even the so-called developed countries, their own is even worse. You know, so yeah, that's one thing I want to say. And when it comes to, you know, recession, what is really recession? Right. Right. When an economy goes through a period of, you know, recession, you know, technically, it's when you have two consecutive quarters. One quarter is 3 months. So for a period of 6 months, you know, each quarter consecutive, right, the economy has shrunk, you know, the GDP has shrunk. So the country is, you know, technically in, you know, in recession. And what normally happens when, you know, that recession happens is businesses suffer, you know, contraction. You know, they don't have enough money to run, you know, the business, so they either lay off people or they cut, you know, their salaries. You know, when the COVID happened, you know, we all learned a new word, furlough. F-U-R-L-O-U-G-H. Follow is a situation where the staff isn't laid off. You know, you're just told to go home and sit down and wait.
Without no pay, right?
With no pay.
Okay.
You know, so when the company begins to do better, they may recall you.
I get it.
It's not guaranteed. A lot of people, when they are followed, they just look for something else, you know, to do. So, you know, prices of things go up because you have very few goods, you know, and so, you know, people who have hoarded, you know, goods, they bring them out, they jack prices. People can no longer afford stuff, you know. So there's just that, you know, struggle, you know, and we're talking about mental strength. Right. You know, during those types, you know, during those periods, people begin to miss, you know, certain basic things like food, clothing, shelter. You know, there's a sense of panic. Right. Am I going to be able to pay my child's school fees? Am I going to be able to meet my rent or my mortgage? You know, can I now afford my medication? You know, a lot of times, especially in countries like Nigeria, you find out that, you know, all those certain expensive medications disappear from the shelf because people can no longer afford them. Right, you know? Right. So those are the things that, you know, you notice in an economy when there is, you know, recession and there is general hardship. Right.
You know, it's, and maybe to even compound this problem, and, you know, I'm not trying to discriminate now based on gender. And maybe as a woman you can bring some perspective. But for men, you know, we looked at the suicide rate last time we were here. And, you know, the studies show that, you know, men are more prone to suicide. And men, when they have financial issues, it's a tough one for men. Because, you know, the society, the culture, the way we've grown up, even from biblical, you know, from a biblical perspective, the man is to provide, he's the head of the home and all that. He's married with children, and you can imagine if he cannot pay his bills because, for example, he's been followed, or, you know, they told him to go sit at home, we don't have any money now, we'll call you back if we need you, or he has simply been laid off, doesn't have a job, you know. And, you know, in Nigeria, we import a lot of stuff, you know, the things, the goods, that raw materials, you know, we have to use FX, dollars, to buy those things. And so if you don't have, like you said, the businesses don't have enough money to import those raw materials, produce them and sell them, then it affects their revenues. And ultimately, somebody may have to get followed, or somebody has to get laid off. And for a man who is a provider in a home, has a wife and children, oh my gosh, that's really tough. I'm sure there's a man out there who can relate to what I'm talking about. And like I said, the number of suicides globally, when you look at it from a gender perspective, men are more likely than women. In fact, I think the ratio is 3-1, if I'm correct. I think, you know, World Health Organization, 3-1, something like that, right? Men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide. And it doesn't tell us exactly what it is, but financial difficulty is certainly one reason why, you know, people take their lives, right? I remember the story of a woman who wanted to jump off a bridge because she was in debt. A market woman who was in debt and wanted to jump off the bridge. They arrested her though. You know, in Nigeria, it's not funny. In Nigeria, you know, if you attempt to commit suicide and you don't go through, you've committed a crime, man. You know,
so if you are unsuccessful, so you even fail.
If you're unsuccessful, man, then no, it's not funny.
So if you're unsuccessful, you can't be jailed.
Yes, the police will arrest you. They will arrest you, and you can be charged, you know, for attempted suicide. So maybe it's all in a bid to discourage you from. But the question really is should it be a crime? I mean, I think the person really needs some psychological help. They need therapy. They need to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Laws, what they are telling you,
you know,
is you better be successful at it.
No, it's not funny. Don't be successful. Don't.
No, if you have a law like that, what you're saying is be successful at it. Otherwise, you spend some time in jail. But what this show is, what we are trying to do on this show is to prevent people from getting there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And while we encourage the lawmakers to please relook at that law.
Right.
You know, people commit suicide because there is a sense of hopelessness.
Right.
Now let's get back to
what we're talking about. I'm going to move your microphone a bit. Well, the show doesn't matter. So, and this is my wife anyway, so I get to touch her, right? So, all right, go ahead.
Preventative measures that, you know, people can apply. You don't want to wait until you get to that situation where there is a sense of hopelessness. You know, at that point, it becomes more difficult,
right,
for help to make sense.
Right.
You know, for a human being to get to a point where he says, you know, I can't take it anymore, you know, I want to take my life, you know, that process has gone through for a while.
Right.
And so you more or less get to a very serious point. So hopefully by the end of the show today, we would proffer, you know, possible things that people can begin to do now.
Yeah.
You know, so that when that, and it's, you know, people go through various things. Today we're talking about finances.
Yeah.
But it could be anything else.
Sure.
What do I need to do you know, to make sure that when the evil day comes, you know, I'm prepared and I can withstand it. Last show we talked about, you know, mental strength, and we talked about, you know, resilience. And
right.
you defined both and you distinguished both. So that mental strength is the ability to stay under the, you know, the load.
Yeah.
And in terms of finances, it is very important to plan ahead. You don't want to wait until you're followed or you're laid off or you have a significant pay cut for you to start, you know, reacting to that.
Right.
So assume, you know, either of those three things can happen, and so you plan towards that. So what are some of the things you can do?
Right.
From now, you can make a decision to be a habitual saver. And people can make the argument, I don't make enough money, so I don't have enough money to save. It's not true. You know, it's a habit that people need to, if possible, you know, teach your children. You know, don't.
Right.
We as human beings, we have a tendency, once we have money, we begin to think about what we need to buy.
Right.
A child will think about sweets or chocolate or pizza or game, you know, without thinking, okay, I don't need this right now.
Right.
I was existing without this thing before this money showed up. But now the money is there. The next, you know, the next natural reaction is, what do I need to spend
the money? Huh?
You know, so if you form a habit of saving and saving, and there are various, you know, ways people can save. You know, there are different, you know, financial products that people can save. Even your ordinary savings account, you know, you go and put the money away. You know, there are money market accounts. There are various kinds of savings you can. If you are a child, you can even start with a piggy bank. Then, you know, look at your current expenditure profile and say, what are the things that I can do without or I can cut down?
Right.
You know, for instance, in Lagos, you know, especially, we have lots of parties, and there is actually, I mean, I've been to like, you know, 3 parties in the last 1 month, and for each one of those parties, I had to purchase.
You have?
Ashwebi, you know, and okay, so the Ashwebis for me, they are not that expensive, right? But for some people, it just may be. Maybe 3 parties in a month is too much. Maybe you should do 1. Maybe you should attend. What's the color of the day? Is red? Okay, I'm gonna wear red, you know, out of, you know, solidarity, but I don't necessarily need to buy this Ashwebi. You know,
right.
Sometimes people invite me, and I'm like, when I think about the cost of traveling and accommodation and all that, I just rather send them, you know, some money and stay back.
Right.
So you need to look at expenses. Say, what is necessary? You know, what is, you know, what can I do without? And I'm sure if you look through your list, you can find something. And when you forgo those things, it makes sense to put that money aside and save it.
You know, you're spot on. There's an executive that I know traveling out of the country, some African country, just an hour away. And the economy, the business class ticket, you know, is 1.5 million or something like that. And the economy ticket is like 400 and something thousand. So that executive says, yeah, I'm an executive, but this is not the time to be spending on a 1-hour flight, 1.5 million naira to get to some African country from Lagos, Nigeria is 1 hour. You pay 1.5 million to sit in the business class for 1 hour, right? The guy says no. He says, I'm going to save that money, the difference, and put it away, like you said, or whatever, and fly economy. Fly economy.
Yeah, so the thing is that, let's make it clear, there's nothing wrong in flying business class.
No, yeah, we know that.
You know, I'm not just saying.
We know that.
You know,
no, let me even qualify it. The trip really is even in quote a personal trip. It's not that he's, you know, he's going, it's some business but some personal. It's a mix.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah,
there's
but-
nothing wrong with flying business class. I get it. I'm not saying that executive, but in this particular case, the executive looked at the two figures. He looked at the 1.5 million 1 hour flight and the 400 and something thousand economy. And he says, ordinarily, if there was no recession, ordinarily, if things were going well in the economy, he's going to fly that business class. But he made a decision to fly the economy to save money. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, so that's a good and a wise decision to make. You know, you fly economy is a 1 hour flight.
1 hour.
Yeah, you save money. The point I'm trying to make is that, you know, there's nothing wrong with anybody flying business class, you know, for a 1 hour flight if you can afford it. There's the comfort there. You may want to do some work.
Right.
Sometimes for health reasons, people fly business class.
That's correct.
You know, I mean, I was talking to a friend earlier on today, and I told him, you know, because of your health condition, you must fly business class. Okay?
Okay.
You kind of like need to stretch your legs, you need that comfort. Because if you are trying to save money under those circumstances, you may be dead by the time you get to your
Is it a long
destination.
flight?
It
How
really
many
doesn't-
hours?
It really doesn't matter how long the flight is.
Okay.
The thing is that in the person's medical condition, 'cause,
They can't.
you know,
Okay. They need the
can't-
space.
They need that comfort. They need to stretch their legs.
Right.
You know, they can't keep their legs. You know, there are certain, you know, medical conditions you have. The doctors will tell you, get up every 30 minutes and move around. You
Right.
can't do that in an
Right.
economy flight.
Right. Right.
Also, you may be traveling with your customers or your business partners, and they are all in business class.
Right.
You really can't afford it, you know, or you'd like to save some money, but you can't be the only one in economy. You may lose business that way.
Yeah, I
They
get
may
it.
wonder.
I get it. So it's
What are you doing at the
it's a
back of
class
the
thing,
plane?
huh? You know,
It's
like,
not class.
Nigerians are-
Sometimes you
we're
spend
class
money
conscious.
to make money.
That's correct.
It may not be, I mean, it just looks funny because there's a way that you will come across so poor that people are scared to discuss
don't wanna do
certain
business
figures
with you.
No, if the figure is Google and EPA business, no problem. But there are some kinds of deals that you're discussing that it just doesn't make sense for you to be in economy.
Okay, I get it.
So that's my point.
I get
But
it.
anyway, your point is cut your coat according to your cloth or whatever it is, you know, however
Hey,
they
man.
say. You know, if you don't fly business class just because you're trying to show off or anything. There has to be a business imperative for you to do so.
Right.
Also, you can even look at your diet. I know that, you know, in our house, I told the kids at some point, you know, orange juice is expensive. You can't be drinking orange juice after every meal. Go and drink water. It's even healthy. For me, I was also saving money.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain things in your diet
Right.
that you can cut down on to save money.
Right.
You know, you don't have to after work every evening, you stop at the beer parlor, take a couple of bottles of beer with ngongo and ishewu. You know, you can cut that out. You can, you should socialize. So maybe if you used to go every day, you can go twice a week.
Right.
You can save money doing so. You know, I mean, at some point, I reduced the quantity of chicken I eat after, with my meals. Sometimes the cook serves me dinner and there are like 3 pieces of chicken. I'm like, this thing is expensive. A pack of drumsticks that used to be 2,000 naira, I think is now 6,000 or something, 7,000. About 8 tiny little drumsticks in there. I'm like, let me just smell the smell of chicken. Just give me one. We're saving money. We're stretching the little money that we have.
Right.
So there are various ways that people can adjust their lifestyle,
Right.
during a period of recession and
Okay.
still make ends meet.
Makes sense. We're going to take a break. We've been talking for a while. When we come back, by the way, if you're just joining us, this is a Chike Onyia Speaks show where we touch one life, one family at a time. I am your host, Chike Onyia, with my lovely wife, co-host, Dr. Azuka Onyia. She's giving away 75,000 naira today, 25,000 a piece to 3 people who are going to call in and answer a question that she's going to give out. She's going to pose, and hopefully you've been listening to win that money. Listen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in about 60 seconds. the Chike Onyia Speaks. Welcome back to Chike Onyia Speaks, the live talk show broadcasting out of here, Lagos, Nigeria. You know, that's where we are. Yeah? And you're welcome to the show. Today, we're talking about resilience, mental strength, specifically as it relates to dealing with money problems, you know. And, you know, last time we're here, before we go to the phone lines, open up the phone lines, Halimat says men don't know how to bust out their feelings and end up bottling it. Says men don't, that's what Halimat is saying here.
So I don't even
right?
think we answered that question.
Which question? Which
you
one?
said men are more predisposed, and you said, you know, you were talking from
a man's perspective. So before we go in there, last time we're here, we tried to, the phrase mental health. You had an issue with that, like, you know, every time mental health comes up, it's like you're talking about somebody's mad or something, right? And I need us to clarify, you know, really the difference between mental health and mental illness. Okay?
Good.
Think about it. Physical health, you are physically healthy. Somebody will make a statement like that. Dr. Azuka, you're physically healthy, right? Somebody can say, are you physically ill? Notice the difference. So mental health is that way. Mental health speaks to the person's psychological and emotional well-being. What do I mean? Psychological well-being speaks to the way you think about things, your thought process, right? Your emotional speaks to your feelings. And all of that is about your well-being. So if you're off psychologically, if you're off in your thought process, in your cognition, if you're off emotionally, then you may suffer mental illness. So for example, depression, when it's diagnosed, could be a form of mental illness, or what you call mental disorder. So same thing, mental illness, mental disorder. We want to distinguish it from mental health. You see, in today's, everybody's talking about mental health issues, right? Mental health, There's nothing wrong with that. When you're mentally healthy, what that means is that from a psychological standpoint, an emotional standpoint, you're well, which means in decent society, you can function well. You can go to work every day and bring your best version of yourself. You can achieve your goals, right? You can have a great family. Your relationships will thrive when you're mentally healthy. So that's the distinction we need to make. Now, for men, when it comes to money problems, listen, and I've told you, my wife, this so many times, that it's akin to a woman who's barren. It's the best analogy I can use for a man who doesn't have money. It's a woman who's been trying to give birth. Last week we talked about a woman that I met. She says for 13 years she was trying to conceive. That's what a man feels, whatever that woman is feeling, that's what a man feels when he doesn't have money. He feels like he's barren. He feels inadequate. He feels less off. Nothing you can tell the man, generally speaking, is going to make any sense to him. Generally. I'm not talking about all men, so let me be clear. There are clearly exceptions. But I'm a man, so I know exactly what I'm talking about because I've gone through that in my own life, right? I have. I'm a businessman. There are days where, you know, businesses we've started and you don't make the kind of money you're supposed to be making from that business. And you're feeling like, my gosh, did I make the wrong choice? How come I'm not making money? So we go to, there are billionaires who have gone near bankruptcy. So men take this really hard. And that's why that suicide rate, you know, in Nigeria, there have been allegations of men who have committed suicide because they were in financial debt. Allegations of that, right? So hopefully I've cleared that up. But today on the show, I know we've been talking, you've started already proffering some solutions to making sure that you don't get into financial hardship. But what if the person is already in financial hardship? You talked about saving your money, cutting your costs and all that. That's fantastic. Those seem to be prophylactic, preventative, right? Those are great. But what if somebody is in financial debt? What if somebody the kids have been thrown out of school? What if they can't pay their rent? What if, and they're depressed? They're out there, mentally ill, What is it that they're supposed to do? And on this show today, we're going to be talking about some of the things you can do if you're in that situation already, right? Now,
okay. So Halima says men don't know how to express their feelings, right? So they bottle it up.
Yeah.
So that's a broad, statement. Some men do know how to express themselves.
Okay.
But generally speaking,
yeah.
And that's essentially because of the way men are raised, especially in this part of the world, where they say, "Oh, toughen up, be a man." What does that mean? Don't cry. You're not a little girl. So boys are raised from when they are little to have this facade of everything is okay, but it shouldn't be that way. So to answer your question, what do you do if you are already in a financial bind? One of the things that you should do is you need to seek help. You need to seek assistance. I belong to various WhatsApp groups. One of them is my secondary school WhatsApp group. We've helped tons of people. A lot of people, when you tell them, "Oh, this is our old students association, join the group." "No, I'm not joining." What are they talking? They are talking politics, this, that. So you exclude yourself. But then one day you find yourself in one form of trouble or the other. Nobody knows you. If they say, "Oh, Azuka is," you say, "Who Azuka? Who Azuka?" No, don't read that. I beg. This is Nigeria. Everybody's a 419. They will leave you and go away. So
no, everybody's not 419.
Well, that's the general notion. We are all afraid of each other. So this is a frank show where we are being very, very open and honest. We are all afraid of each other. Everybody thinks the next person.
Also, there are no trust issues. There are trust issues.
It's not question of trust. It's question of being wise. Because the level of, the number of people out there that are ready to do you in
to kind of dupe
far
you
exceed, those who are not. So the safest assumption to make is whoever is telling you anything is story. So, if you find yourself in a situation now, it's not too late to reach out to one person that still remembers you, to discuss your issue and to ask for help.
Right.
Don't isolate yourself. Don't be a loner. And if you're not yet in a financial bind, keep in touch with your family. You'll be shocked what your little nephew can tell you. How your little niece can introduce you to someone that can give you a loan or can partner with you or can even help you. I have friends who are looking for people to bless. And say, "You know what, I just want to bless somebody." So if you're not keeping in touch with your family, you don't call them regularly, they only see you when you have problems, chances are that when you do have problems, it will be difficult to find help.
Right.
So get involved in community work. Get involved in a community. Even if it's your village meeting, attend it regularly. If it's your secondary school or your primary school or your university, or even at work, they are doing TGIF. "No, I'm not coming," and those people are annoying. There are people who work, with me that have come to say, "Madam, I have financial issues." They don't have anybody else to talk to. And assistance has been arranged for them. So make yourself friendly. The Bible says, he who wants to make friends should himself or herself be a friendly person.
Okay.
So it's one thing that you can do, when you find yourself in that situation, talk to somebody about it, seek help.
Okay.
Don't isolate yourself and keep your issues to yourself. You may be shocked that you are one step away from solving your problem.
Person solving your problem. All right, we're going to go to the phone line, 091 6000 2661 or 091 6000 2662. That's if you're calling us locally here in Nigeria. If you're calling from outside Nigeria, +234 91 6000 2663, right? Those are the numbers to call. So you should see those numbers now on the screen. Feel free to go to the phone lines. And remember, when you call, my wife's going to be asking you a question. If you get that answer right, you're going to win 25,000 naira. And that's the first 3 callers, right? So, hey, let's go for it. Now, Halimat says, I didn't get the meaning of mental illness. Well, let's go over that again. And we're going to wait for the callers to come in. So, when you're mentally healthy, it means that the way you think, the way you feel is all good. You're doing well at work, you're doing well in your family and all that. But
sorry, what do you mean by it's all good?
It's all good. I mean, you're doing well. You go to work every morning, you're productive, you earn a wage, you go out, hang out with your friends, you go to church or the mosque, you can cook, you can go take your kids to the park and play. If there's an Owambe, you go out with your Ashobi, you hang out, you're living life. Right. But there are times when external things happen. You lose a loved one. You have financial problems. You get laid off from your job. You go through a bitter divorce or something. And that stimulus, that event, that singular event can affect the way you think. You start thinking, I'm a failure. You start thinking, I want to give up. I can't make it. It can affect the way you feel. You start feeling really sad. You go into a deep state of sadness and leads to depression. That, when it's diagnosed by a doctor, is mental illness. Just like you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis of typhoid or appendicitis. Now you're not physically healthy anymore. You're physically ill.
Okay, so you're
ill.
Let's say you have malaria.
Malaria, yes.
You have high fever, you have chills,
yes.
You're shaking.
Hello, sorry, we're going to call it. Hello, good evening. Are you there? Hello, good evening. Okay, we can't hear you. The network is terrible. Sorry about that. You may want to hang up and try again. All right? What were you saying, honey? You were saying something, right? You were saying...
So yeah. I was saying that physical illness has certain symptoms. Right?
Yes, yes.
So if you have malaria, you have fever, you have chills.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening, sir. This is Alima from Lagos, sir.
Yeah, Alimat, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much, sir.
Good, good. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Like I believe in what Mark said, a closed mouth is truly a closed destiny. If you don't share your problem, you might not know who can solve it for you. And also the fact that in Africa, we believe that when you share your problem, people will make fun of you, they'll laugh about you. But what about the fact that you might also see help? But we should try and also consider that.
I see.
Okay, so Halimat.
That's
right?
Halimat, yeah.
Okay, so Halimat, you are the first caller, so I'm going to be asking you the first question. So Chike threw out a statistic out there. He said, X number of men are more likely to commit suicide than women. What was the figure he gave?
He said a ratio of 3 to 1.
Oh,
Men
wow.
3 to 1.
Wow.
Very good. So Halima is the lucky winner of 25
Wow.
hot thousand naira.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's so big. Thank you very much, Ma. I really appreciate it, Ma.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So, Alimat, go ahead, send us your send us your account details on our WhatsApp number, +23491 6000 2663. I think you have it. She's won before. Go ahead and send us your account details, okay? All right, 091 6000 2663. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Moshood Kayode from Osun State.
Moshood Kayode, Osun. Where in Osun State are you tuning in from?
Ife, Ile-Ife.
Ile-Ife. Yes, Great Ife. Where they have the University of Ife, right?
Great, sir.
Great Ife, great.
Great.
Meanwhile, I didn't go to Ife. Oh. Yes,
sir.
But go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, for me, I believe we should have been making plans ahead before asking for help, because people believe that since you did not make your social group, you've not been chatting with them earlier, or you only come to them when you need help, they might not help you as at that moment. But if you have built the group of the people, you interact with them, anytime you need help and you come to interact with them, they will know that you build up the social group. You've been interacting with them not because of the help. So they'll be willing to help when you come in your times of need, sir.
Wow.
You're absolutely right, Moshood. The thing though is, even if you have not done that before you run into financial trouble, repent and still reach out to them and don't jump into the lagoon. That's what we're trying to say on this show.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
So Moshood, here is your question.
Okay, man.
I defined or I explained, economic recession at the beginning of the show. What did I say it is?
You said economic recession is like the shrunk of the economy after 2 consecutive quarters. And you said 1 consecutive quarter is 3 months.
Wow. Moshood is taking notes.
He took copious notes.
Yes, Moshood is the,
wow.
is the very proud winner of 25,000 naira.
25.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you more and more and more, sir.
Amen.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity, sir.
Please
send your account details.
Your account details, Moshood.
09160002663 is our WhatsApp number. Drop it there, Moshood. 09160002663.
Please take down Moshood.
Now, Theodora Nicole, thank you for writing. She says, I'm not sure I agree with your comparison, sir. Maybe comparing the feeling of barrenness to impotency might be a better analogy. Thank you for that. I don't know it all, right? So thank you, right? I've always felt that when a man doesn't have money, the best way to describe it for me is arguably what a woman would feel when she can't give birth. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what women feel when they go through that, right? But I've heard women talk. So that's why
you're not comparing financial difficulty with barrenness. So let's clear that up for Nicole.
Nicole, yeah.
What you're comparing is the feeling.
The feeling, yeah, sure.
Not the condition or the situation.
No, not the condition. Okay, is that what she's saying here?
Yes,
okay.
that's also, I'm trying to clarify for her that you're using that to say, I feel, this is how I feel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or this is how a man feels if they lack money.
They lack money, right.
Just like a woman may feel.
Yeah.
So it's just to clear that up.
To clarify.
Then Chimoku says this is such a broad topic. Mental health is a whole lecture on its own. Then to add financial difficulties, wahala. I know what has helped me in my low moments is my community. They've had my back.
Hello, good evening. Chinwe is so spot on. Good evening, are you there? Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
sir. It's Menora calling from Owerri, sir.
Menora from Owerri. All of our
yes,
frequent
sir.
Callers. All right, Menora, go ahead.
Okay, I want to contribute on the topic. So far, to me, based on the topic, I see it as in this financial situation of the country now, I prefer that word of scale of preference, because everybody's hand, like what Mama said, is not the same. You cut your coat according to your size. And secondly, again, in the situation that you find yourself that maybe you don't know what to do, you don't know how you handle the situation, you go and seek for advice. Ask people, not just meeting anyhow kind of people. You find people that are very, they have something upstairs that that they can lead you aright. You take advice to that situation. And thirdly, again, you have to find something else doing. Example, if you're a government worker, based on the situation of the country now, you're a government worker and you see that maybe your income is not coming, is not carrying this family, responsibilities and all. You have to also look for other things you have to add up to make ends meet.
That's great. Multiple sources of income.
Yeah,
she makes a great point.
Yes, that is a fantastic point.
Yeah.
So let me just ask her question.
Sure,
right?
ask her the question, yeah.
So Menora, your question is, and I hope you were listening very carefully. Chike defined or explained mental illness. So can you tell us what mental illness is?
Mental illness. Okay,
Yes.
mental illness is when someone is, having this issue of mental instability. Like, is a kind of when someone is passing through mental, in the psychology, like mental illness in the sense of one is encompassing emotional and psychological and social well-being, influencing cognition and perception in behavior.
Okay, I'll give that to you. So the key words there are, emotional, is psychological.
Yeah.
You're not operating as you would be. So I'll
You
give
give
that
it to her?
Yes.
All right, Menora wins
So
25,000
congratulations, Menora wins
25
25 hot thousand naira.
Yes, Menora,
Thank you, Ma.
send your bank details to 091 6000 2663 is our WhatsApp number. Drop it there, right? Drop it there. We started late today, so I think maybe we'll push it for a few more minutes. But I think that as we begin to close this show, the other day, our cook came and brought the list and showed me this, and I looked at the figure, and I said, where's my wife's food here? Make sure everything on this list has my wife's food. And my daughter, Ifoma, is in the house with us. I said, make sure Ifoma's stuff is there. Then she came to mine and says, Oga, your spaghetti with sausage and this and burger. No, not the veg. She said chicken sausage. This. I said, listen to me. All that chicken sausage and all that. How much is that thing now? The things that we would buy for, let's say like 10,000 naira, it's gone up like 50 times or 1 million gazillion times. So my wife will get what she wants. My children will get what they want. But like Menora said, there's a scale of preference. I don't need all that fluffy stuff right now, right? Somebody says, well, Chike, you need to eat well and all that. No, my wife is here. I go with the vegetables. I drink my water.
That's eating well.
Yes, I will eat my vegetables.
That's eating
I eat I drink my water, cut out some, you talked about orange juice. I used to like to drink that. I've cut it all out, saved me some money. Because the water I drink, I carry my bottled water everywhere I'm going now, you know what I'm saying? So even eating well is cheaper for me. That's the point I'm making. There's nothing like big man here. Even the big men are feeling the crunch in their pockets.
Definitely.
Even the wealthy are struggling. They're feeling the heat. Some people have their children abroad. Some have had to bring their children out of schools abroad because of the FX foreign exchange issue, and bring them back to Nigeria to go to school. So everybody's going through a challenge right now, and we all need to understand that. Now, I need you to hear me very carefully. No matter what you're going through out there, I want you to know something. Listen to me very carefully. There's nothing that you go through today, financially or otherwise, that somebody else has not gone through. Listen to me. I read a book about a man who was in debt. Listen, $900 million in personal debt. I read the book, and I know this. I know this man. He's real. This is not an imagination. This is not some fiction in my mind. No, I know this man. $900 million in personal debt. Guess what? The man is still moving around strong. Somebody says, how did he get in so much debt? I don't know. All I know is that he was in bad shape. He said he had sleepless nights. He said, whatever. He went through hell. But guess what? He was able to come out of it, one way or the other. The point I'm making is that there's nothing you're going through today that somebody else has not gone through. And the show is about mental strength. My wife alluded to that earlier. When you're mentally strong, what that says is that no matter the load that is on you, you're going to have the tenacity, the courage, right? The confidence, I will come out of this. And my wife talked about getting help. Of course, you're not going to stay there and say, I'm going to come out of it and you don't seek help. No, part of being courageous, part of being strong is seeking help, right? And then resilience. Resilience is about bouncing back. You will bounce back. And when you come out of the financial dilemma, you're going to learn some very valuable lessons. Maybe you were careless in spending your money. Maybe you were not budgeting right. Like my wife said, the first million naira that gets into your pocket, you want to go and spend it. And maybe sometimes we go through hell on earth, and God is trying to teach us a lesson. Son, daughter, you need to change your ways. You need to, like my wife says,
How many minutes more do we have?
do we have? Don't worry about it. We started late. We have a few minutes. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to. So, when I was talking about how to come out of, or manage or handle financial issues, I talked about, like a community or, belonging to a group, reaching out to your family.
Right.
Another key thing is your faith, is prayer, spirituality. You need to hold on to something bigger than yourself.
True.
And outside of yourself.
True.
If you internalize your issues and it's all about you, it's going to overwhelm you. So it's in times of crisis, in times of, whether the crisis is financial or health or work or anything or relationship, faith is very important. So coming back to financial, another thing that, I think somebody alluded to, either Menora or Anima said, try to do multiple things. Don't focus on only one thing.
Right.
The book of, Ecclesiastes says, plant in the morning, plant in the evening. You don't know which one will germinate or if all of it will germinate.
Right.
Personally, I do different things. I don't only do one thing. I do different things. So I have multiple streams of income. I know you do that too. And what we're encouraging our listeners to do is find, you will be surprised that, things that people don't think is a big deal, like just organizing, even editing. If you're very good at writing, you're very good at editing, you can make money being an editor, just helping people. A lot of people don't like to write, but they have ideas. If you're good at writing, you can make money virtually.
Right.
You don't need to leave your house. You can make money, just being an editor.
Right.
You can sew. I know, some, young lady that I know in LA, back then in LA when we lived there, she made a lot of money just doing hair, in her spare time. She would just braid hair, and she made lots of money braiding hair.
Right.
But she had a regular job, so in her spare time, she would do hair. So, just do something else to have multiple streams of income and save that extra, multiple, stream of income. So I just wanted to make sure that we cover as much ground, as give out as much, information as we possibly can before the show comes to an end.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to start bringing it to closure. And I think, that's a good place to end the show. I love what my wife said. Faith in God, right? Go ahead. What did she say? Theodora Nicole.
So Theodora Nicole says, thanks for clarifying my earlier concerns. I tried calling, but network didn't let me.
Oh, what a pity. I'm so sorry, Theodora. You keep listening. Maybe.
Nicole, I really liked your question. So even though you tried to call and you didn't get in, so as the chairman, my discretion, you win 25,000.
Wow, that's
so Nicole, send us your details.
That's 100,000 from the chairman.
Your bank account
details.
Send it to the WhatsApp.
091. Send your account details, Theodora, to 091 6000 2663.
So this is an example of resilience.
She's resilient.
She's resilient. She didn't give up. She needed to get her statement out there. She tried the phone lines. It didn't work. Then I'm going to post my stuff on, is this Facebook? Or
it's Facebook?
On YouTube,
Yeah.
That's part of resilience. There must be a way out. So
Always.
Theodora, for being resilient
And mentally strong.
yes,
sitting under the load.
Yes, so
of no network. She
network.
sat under the load of no network and said,
no phone network.
No phone network, but I must find an alternative. And that's another thing resilient people do very well. They improvise on their way to to success. They look for alternatives. They look for ways to improvise. There's always a way out. And this is a classic case of resilience, mental strength, and resilience on the show. Honestly, she deserves that 25,000 naira extra.
So, right? Theodora, if you can hear us, please send your details to the WhatsApp group. I want to give them the number again.
091 6000 2663, right? Send that information there. And to close the show, I want to close this show on what my wife said, and that's faith in God. There's nothing like it. Holding on to a supreme being, no shaking. I don't care what you're going through. Well, I do care. What I mean when I don't care is that I know for a fact that there's a God out there who loves you so much and can bring you out of that problem. So if you're thinking about committing suicide because of financial problems, please don't commit suicide. Write to me, 091-6000-2663, and I'll reach out. I'll reach out. Yes, the email, I think they're going to put it up on the screen. Put our email there. You can write an email. The team, we have a team back here, back end. They will check those emails. But 091-6000-2663. Please don't take your life. Please don't. Think about your family members. If you take your own life, what would become of your family? The people you're going to leave behind, they're going to suffer because of this one act that you engage in. Reach out to us on the show, the Chike Onyia Speaks live talk show. My wife and I are here to provide counsel, to provide some help as much as we can. We love you guys out there, and thank you so much for joining us. My wife and I today really blessed us today by your presence. Join us next week as we continue the topic on mental strength and resilience. All month of July, every Friday, we're talking about mental strength and resilience. God bless you and have a great day, great night, great evening, great afternoon ahead. Good night.